Hi, Frank.
The Denver Broncos have signed former Kansas City Chiefs edge rusher Frank Clark, a surprise I did not see coming, especially because the most recent reports with Clark were that he was close to returning to the Chiefs. He saw them at the White House and was ready to run it back on a team-friendly deal. Now, when I first read the tweet about this, I double-checked to make sure it wasn't from a fake account. That's how off the radar this was for me. And thank you, Billy, for perfectly capturing my reaction with the Conor McGregor clip. Fitting, since I just finished the McGregor documentary on Netflix. Now, I really thought I'd be making a Dalvin Cook to the Broncos video today or tomorrow, but instead, I will answer, is Frank Clark signing with Denver a good or bad thing for the Broncos? Let's go to sports. Please subscribe to this dumb fucking channel if you want. Also, my coffee company, BenchwarmerBrew.com. We're still selling the Loser's Blend of coffee, which is really good. We're about to drop our Chai Tea Higgins, and we've got handcrafted mugs from local businesses that we're supporting. So if you want to support this channel and support other good stuff, do it at BenchwarmerBrew.com. All right, Adam Schefter, he delivered the compensation news for Clark, and as you may have guessed, it's on a no-risk one-year deal worth up to $7.5 million with $5.5 million guaranteed. So that's $2 million in incentives, with $1 million being what Shefty categorized as challenging incentives. I'm guessing those are tied to some very high sack numbers or snap totals for the season, or hopefully specific sack totals on Patrick Mahomes. Give Clark $100 million if he can sack Mahomes 10 times every time Denver plays the Chiefs. I'll be okay with that. Now, part of the reason Denver was able to afford Clark was because they did release Brandon McManus a couple weeks ago. To be honest, though, I've never really liked Frank Clark. And no, it's not because he played for the Seahawks and the Chiefs, the two thorns in my football side. The reason, a domestic violence incident where he was accused of punching his girlfriend in the face and choking her. A story that was corroborated by a hotel clerk and the alleged victim's brother. That occurred when he was in college at Michigan, and he was removed from the team but had the DV charges dropped after pleading down to a disorderly conduct charge instead. Now, since he was drafted by the Seahawks and has been in the NFL, Clark has not had any domestic violence issues. Now, he did get into trouble in LA for having an Uzi in his Lambo, if you remember. With an Uzi in his Lambo, which sounds like rap lyrics from 2004. Got caught with an Uzi in my Lambo. Skirted the law cause they couldn't see me in my camo. Offer was no Columbo. And if he were any fatter, I would have called him Dumbo. Got caught with an Uzi in my Lambo. He also did tweet some dumb comments to a Bleacher Report reporter, Natalie Weiner, after she linked Clark's DV story to a story about Greg Hardy. Clark said something like, "People like you don't have long careers in your field. I have a job for you, cleaning my fish tanks when that little job is over." Now, Clark later deleted the tweet and made a half-hearted apology on Twitter. So those are the reasons I've never really felt good about Frank Clark being in the NFL. But I mention all of that because I gave Kansas City plenty of shit when they traded for him, and he's never really seemed like the type of dude who felt bad for his mistakes. And while the Broncos need depth at the edge, I don't feel great about this signing. Moving on, though, from that, when Frank Clark was in Seattle, where he started his career, he played alongside current Broncos outside linebacker coach Michael Wilhite. I have to think that factors into Denver's decision to pick him up. Now, Clark was drafted in the second round of the 2015 draft and has gone to 3 Pro Bowls, all of them with Kansas City, even though he played better in the regular season with the Seahawks, who he joined in 2019, the year they won their first Super Bowl with Andy Reid and Patty Mahomes. Clark was especially good off the edge that year, collecting 5 sacks in just 3 playoff games, including one in Super Bowl 54. Overall, Clark's racked up 13.5 sacks in 17 career playoff games. He's 2 sacks away from having the playoff sacks all-time record. Willie McGinnis is number 1 with 16 postseason sacks. The running joke here has been that Clark doesn't even really try until the postseason starts.
They call you Mr. February!
Which is a problem since the Broncos can't get to the postseason. I don't think there's a fit there, guys. He's also a mixed bag, even amongst support from Chiefs fans. There are a lot of questions around his consistency of play from KC fans. Now, how does he fit with the Broncos? Denver has edge rush depth right now in terms of numbers of bodies, but a lot of it is untapped potential or just players you can't count on due to injuries. As long as Randy Greggory is healthy, he'll be starting. Baron Browning should play opposite him, but I think Browning, Clark, and Nick Bonito will all rotate in and out of the edge depending on the down and distance. Unfortunately, we just found out that Browning underwent arthroscopic knee surgery, which makes his start to the season very cloudy. And since Fangio's gone, there is no chance of meatballs.
Meatball.
I know I used that clip in the last video, but sue me. Now, I imagine Clark, regardless of what happens with the guys in front or behind him on the depth chart, will definitely be a third down specialist for the Broncos this season if he's not a starter. Now, he only recorded 4.5 and 5 sacks the last 2 seasons while playing a similar number of snaps. If Greggory doesn't stay healthy or Browning doesn't develop, Clark might be the best all-around pass rusher on the team. His 56 pressures last year were still more than any Broncos defender had in 2022. Draymond Jones had the most, by the way, at 45, and he's gone. Josina Anderson tweeted that this is what Clark told her on why he chose the Broncos. The situation with Sean Payton is good for me. I get to play alongside Randy Greggory and stay in my division that I am very familiar with. I also want to help the Broncos get back to the mountaintop. Personally, I think he signed with the Broncos because they were willing to pay him more money than the Chiefs. And then also Frank felt a bit slighted by KC's lack of interest in him, decided to sign with the division rival. Basically what Draymond Jones did by going to Seattle. A rival outside of the division. Is it a good thing for the Broncos? Well, I think it makes their biggest question mark on defense not a question mark. I don't know if this puts them over the top in terms of being a top 10 edge rushing team, but I think it will make them a steady rush team. Consistent, if you will, with good options if someone does get hurt. Not to single anyone out. Or if Baron Browning isn't ready to go right away. Now, I hope Clark is bitter about Kansas City not wanting him because I think he needs that chip on his shoulder to play well. And shit, if he's bad in, say, 15 games of the year but goes off against just the Chiefs, I'll take that too. Thanks for watching the Breaking News Frank Clark episode here on That's Good Sports. Make sure you check out every team's best and worst move from this offseason. I posted that earlier today because, again, I didn't think I'd be doing this video.